I always thought my father was the kind of man you could trust without question. He was disciplined, polite, impossible to disappoint. The kind of man who fixed everything: broken toys, loose cabinet hinges, even bad days. Growing up, he used to tell me, "Lydia, a promise is a mirror. Once it's cracked, you'll never see yourself the same again." I believed him. Maybe that's what made the betrayal cut so deep, because when the mirror shattered, I realized he was the one holding the hammer. It started on an ordinary Thursday. I was in line at a coffee shop near my office when I saw her. At first, I thought it was like catching my reflection in a window. That eerie, momentary confusion when you move and someone moves exactly the same way. She stood just a few feet ahead of me, talking to the barista, and for a heartbeat, I felt dizzy. Her profile, her hair, even the slope of her shoulders. It was like looking at myself 5 years younger. She glanced over her shoulder once, and I froze. Her eyes, gray-green, same as mine. I didn't say anything then. I just watched her pick up her coffee and leave, the bell above the door chiming softly. But I couldn't shake it. The resemblance was uncanny, too specific to be coincidence. That night, I mentioned it to my mom. "Must have just been someone with similar features," she said lightly, stirring her tea. "You have one of those faces, Lydia. People always tell you that." I smiled, but something in her tone felt rehearsed. The next week, I saw the girl again, this time at the farmer's market. She was laughing with a man, tall, broad-shouldered, his silver hair catching the sun. My father. He was carrying a basket, listening to her talk like she was the only person in the world. I stopped walking. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. He reached out to brush something from her hair, a leaf maybe, and I saw it then. The same smile, the same dimple on the left side. My hands went cold. I ducked behind a stall, heart pounding so loud I thought people would hear it. When I finally looked again, they were gone. For days after, I tried to tell myself a story that made sense. Maybe it was someone from his old work, maybe a friend's daughter, maybe he was mentoring her. Anything but what my gut already knew. But the next morning, while helping him clean the garage, I found the evidence I wasn't supposed to. A stack of old photos tucked in a shoebox marked "Misk." In the top photo, my father was standing beside that same girl, her arm around his waist, her head resting against his chest. They were smiling, sunlight in their eyes. Behind them, a birthday banner that read, "Happy 16th, Emma." Emma. The date written on the back of the photo was just 3 years ago. My fingers trembled as I flipped through the rest. There were photos of her as a toddler, as a schoolgirl, as a teenager. Always with him, sometimes alone, never with my mother. He'd been living 2 lives, ours and hers. I don't remember walking back inside. I only remember the smell of engine oil and dust and the sick sound of something breaking inside me. That night, I went through every family album we owned, searching for any sign, a missing weekend, unexplained trips. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces I'd ignored for years started to fit. The business conferences that always fell near her birthdays, the old college friend he'd visit upstate, the half-explained phone calls that made him step outside to talk. I sat in the dark until morning, staring at nothing. When my mom came downstairs, I asked quietly, "Did you know?" Her spoon froze halfway to her mouth. "Know what?" she asked, but her voice cracked halfway through. I pushed one of the photos across the table. For a long time, she didn't move. Then she set her spoon down and whispered, "Oh, Lydia." The sound wasn't surprise. It was defeat. "You knew?" I said. She closed her eyes. "I found out a few years ago. He promised it was over. I thought." She trailed off, shaking her head. "I thought I could forgive him for your sake." "My sake?" I whispered. "You let him keep lying for my sake?" Tears welled in her eyes, but I couldn't stay. I grabbed my coat and left, the photo still burning in my hand. For days I avoided his calls. He left voicemails, gentle at first, then confused, then irritated. "Lydia, I don't know what's gotten into you. Call me back." What had gotten into me? The truth, that's all. It took me 2 weeks to find Emma. Her school had a public Facebook page. I scrolled through photos until I saw her name in a tag, Emma Grant. I sent her a message. It took a day for her to reply. "Hi, do I know you?" "Not really," I wrote back, "but I think we might be related." We met at a park near her college. She was nervous, fidgeting with her bracelet, glancing at me like she couldn't decide whether to run or cry. "Do you know who your father is?" I asked. She nodded. "John Grant. He's not married." My stomach turned. "He's married?" "To my mother." Her face went white. "No, that's not possible." I handed her one of the photos, the same one from the garage. She looked at it for a long time. Her lip trembled. "He said he left her before I was born." "He didn't," I said quietly. "He stayed with both." Her eyes filled with tears. "He told me he didn't have another daughter. I guess he forgot to mention me." We sat there, two halves of a broken truth, each trying to find a version of the story that didn't hurt so much. Finally, she whispered, "What do we do now?" I didn't answer then. I didn't know. But I did know one thing. He wasn't getting away with it. Not anymore. My father's retirement party was scheduled for the end of the month. His company was hosting it at a country club. Big guest list, speeches, champagne, the whole performance of admiration. I decided that would be the stage. The day of the party, I woke up calm. Too calm, maybe. The kind of calm that comes when pain has burned itself into steel. I wore a simple black dress. My mother refused to go. "I can't face them," she said. I didn't blame her. But Emma came. She met me outside the venue, eyes wide but determined. I'd told her everything, about my mother, about how long it had gone on. She deserved to know. "Are you sure about this?" she asked softly. "Yes," I said. "He taught me that lies don't belong in the dark." Inside, the room shimmered with warmth, laughter, old colleagues toasting, people shaking his hand. He stood at the front of the room, smiling that same careful smile. When he spotted me, his face lit up. "There's my girl," he said, pulling me into a hug. His cologne, cedar and deception, filled my lungs. He didn't notice Emma standing behind me until I stepped aside. For a moment, his entire expression collapsed. Shock, recognition, calculation, all flashing across his face like a broken slideshow. "Dad," I said softly, "want to introduce everyone to your other daughter?" The microphone was still in his hand from his speech. The room went silent. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. People turned, whispering. Cameras flashed. His boss frowned. Emma stared at him, tears glinting in her eyes. "You said you were alone," she whispered. He took a step toward her. "Emma, please." I stopped him. "No, you've said enough." Then I reached into my purse and pulled out the envelope I'd brought. Copies of photos, birth records, the evidence of his double life. I said it on the podium. "This," I said evenly, "is what honesty looks like when you hide it for 18 years. He tried to grab my arm, but I stepped back. "Don't touch me," I said quietly. "You don't get to fix this one." Someone in the audience muttered, "Oh my God." Another whispered, "His daughters?" My father's voice cracked. "Lydia, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I said. "You taught me that promises are mirrors, but you forgot to mention who you were breaking them to." He looked around helplessly, his perfect reputation disintegrating in front of everyone he'd ever impressed. His boss excused himself. A few guests slipped out quietly. Emma turned and left, her shoulders shaking. I followed her outside, the night air cool against my skin. She stopped near the fountain, wiping her eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. It needed to, I said. He's been telling lies for half our lives. She looked at me, her face both familiar and foreign. Do you hate me? I shook my head. You didn't do anything wrong. For a long time, we just stood there, the sound of laughter and music fading behind us. Eventually, she smiled, small, fragile. Sisters, then? I exhaled. Sisters. We walked away together, leaving him behind in his perfect suit, surrounded by the ruins of his own design. Later that night, my phone buzzed with his call. I let it ring until it stopped. He left a voicemail. His voice was hoarse, defeated. Lydia, please, I made mistakes, but I love you. Love. Such a flexible word in the mouths of liars. I deleted the message. Weeks passed. Emma and I met for coffee sometimes. It was awkward at first, trying to build a connection out of betrayal, but there was something healing about it. We didn't talk much about him. We talked about music, movies, plans for the future. We learned that we both hated olives, loved thunderstorms, and laughed the same way. My mother, on the other hand, filed for separation quietly. No scene, no shouting, just paperwork and finality. As for my father, he retired alone. His company released a polite statement, and then silence swallowed his name. Sometimes I wonder if he ever looks in the mirror and thinks of what he broke. I don't hate him anymore. Hate gives too much back. I've learned that silence can be its own form of justice, one that echoes longer than words. When I think about him now, I remember the advice he used to give me, about mirrors, about promises. And I realize he was right, just not in the way he meant. Once it's cracked, you never see yourself the same again. But sometimes, seeing yourself differently is the first honest thing you can do.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.